Next on the news, there are plenty of sights to see around New York City, but in the Flatiron District, you can get a glimpse across the Atlantic.
It's a window to the other side of the world, and recently a Catholic decided to bring prayer to this space. I'm Katie Vasquez, and I'll have that story coming up on Currents News.
Now make sure it looks good and everything is done.
Looks good, doesn't it? People from Brooklyn and beyond flock to Williamsburg for Our Lady of Mount Carmel's feast. The Giglio lift is iconic, and so is the owner of this sausage stand. After decades cooking in kitchens, personally and professionally, Pastor Monsignor Jamie Gigantiello is releasing his secret sauce for a good cause.
It's the sauce that tastes like heaven, and it might just help you get there too. I'm Jessica Easthope. That story's coming up.
I'm Christine Persichetti. Currents News starts right now. It's a window to the other side of the world. This portal is offering people of faith in New York a real-time view of the streets of Dublin. Times Square is often thought of as the crossroads of the world, but in the Flatiron District, a portal has opened up, allowing two cities thousands of miles away from each other the chance to interact live. And now some friars are using it to pray. Currents News' Katie Vasquez has the story.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee.
A moment of prayer.
Blessed art thou amongst women.
As a crowd of 30 people gathered with rosary beads in hand outside the portal, a live stream connecting New York City and Dublin.
I think it's so cool to share in the rosary with people across the world. You know, you don't get to do things like that very often, and the church is universal. So, that's such a clear depiction of the universal church.
Our Father, who art in heaven.
The first portal rosary took place on May 31st with a small group. Catholic influencer Franco Fernandez got the idea from a friend and connected with Dominican priests in the Irish capital.
He was like, hey, who's going to be the first to pray the rosary through the portal? And so as soon as I saw that, I'm like, I have to do this ASAP.
Straight away, I said, 100%, let's do it, because collaboration, I think, is really important among Catholic content creators and influencers online. So I realized this guy, he's the real deal.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with
day starts by praying the first decades at St. Vincent Ferrer Church on the Upper East Side.
It is drawing people from around the world together to pray with Our Lady as we're asking her to beseech the Lord on behalf of our needs and the needs of the world.
Before taking the subway downtown.
Mother of God, pray for us sinners.
Mel Alegre learned of the event through social media and felt it was a good way to put his faith on display.
To me, just not be ashamed of my faith. Don't ever be ashamed of what you believe in.
The portal was briefly closed in May because people on both sides displayed inappropriate behavior.
Holy Mary, Mother of God.
Franco and the Irish Dominicans hope bringing prayer to the space will counteract that.
It's like when you watch a good movie and you just want to share it to as many people as possible.
Might make them just rethink the Catholic faith and recognize, gosh, maybe there's a bit of life in the church that I didn't expect.
Bless you, the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Almighty Father, pour out your blessing upon this portal.
They plan to be back the 22nd of every month, sharing their faith with others. In the Flatiron District, Katie Vasquez, Currents News.
As Katie mentioned, the friars on both sides of the Atlantic plan to pray the rosary at the portal on the 22nd of every month. Dozens of people travel to Williamsburg every night this time of year for the famous Giglio feast. The 12-day event includes many of the summer staples we've all grown to love, from the iconic lifting of the tower happening this weekend to the delicious Italian food found at the stands. But feastgoers say no food is more iconic than Lucy's.
Now make sure it looks good and everything is done.
That's Lucy Spada, the owner of the sausage stand that's been a staple at the Our Lady of Mount Carmel feast for the last 50 years, serving traditional sausage and peppers, brajol, and other classic feast treats. Lucy says it's kept her family legacy alive.
My grandmother is the original Lucy. Then I took it over in 1971. It's just, you know, tradition, trying to keep the faith, trying to keep everything the way it is. And they know they're going to get good stuff when they come here. If I can't eat it, I won't give it to you.
Lucy plans to be seated at the Our Lady of Mount Carmel feast for as long as she can and hopes her family will carry on the tradition from there. New at the feast this year, you could bring some of those iconic Italian flavors home with you. It's a sauce we're told tastes like heaven. Monsignor Jamie Gigantiello's new tomato sauce just hit store shelves around the Diocese of Brooklyn, with all profits going to charity. Currents News' Jessica Easthope has that story from Williamsburg.
The burner ignites. And suddenly, heaven's not too far from Williamsburg, Brooklyn.
Hearing all about Michael's sauce and Rayo's sauce and all the different Lydia's sauce, I said, you know, maybe someday I'll come out with my own sauce.
The first shipment of Monsignor Jamie Gigantiello's tomato sauce has just arrived, and with one of the very first jars popped, pasta has found a perfect match.
Here.
The sauce Monsignor Jamie calls a taste of heaven from Brooklyn has been months in the making.
Making the sauce, been here about 3 hours already.
Sourcing a facility to jar it and getting the recipe he says he's been making for decades just right and ready to be consumed by the masses.
Put some cheese on top.
If you're wondering, yes, it does smell as good as it looks. Trust me. With less than 10 fresh ingredients, it's a blessed blend of delicious and nutritious.
There's your sauce, and the whole thing is to use fresh ingredients. These tomatoes are imported from Italy, and that's the key.
It sells for $10 a jar.
All of these boxes are filled with my tomato sauce. Look,
all of
right
the profits go to causes close to Monsignor Jamie's heart.
Part of it will go to Futures in Education, and another part of it will go to the Fratelli Tutti Foundation, which is one of the Holy Father's new foundations to help poverty, famine, human trafficking throughout the world.
Monsignor Jamie's sauce can be found at grocery stores around the Diocese of Brooklyn and here at the Our Lady of Mount Carmel Feast, which runs from July 10th to the 21st. And don't take it from me, you can taste for yourself, but you might want to come get some. In Williamsburg, Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
Well, I'm jealous. Can't wait to try it. If you're looking to visit the Mount Carmel Feast and see the iconic Giglio lift, here's when to go. The world-famous lift is this Sunday, July 14th. There will be Mass at 11:30, and that tower will grace the skies at 1:30. The Giglio will dance under the stars on Wednesday, July 17th. That happens at 7:30. And there will be an old-timers lift on Sunday, July 21st at 2 p.m. Summer tends to be the most popular season for weddings, and if you've ever dreamed of getting married at St. Peter's Basilica, its pastor says you can. That message isn't coming from Pope Francis. It's from a Franciscan named Father Agnello Stoia, who handles the day-to-day life of the world's largest church, including the sacraments from baptisms to marriage. Since his appointment by the pontiff as pastor in 2021, Father Agnello has been trying to turn St. Peter's millions of yearly tourists into pilgrims and make the sacraments more accessible. So Father Agnello says if you want to get married at St. Peter's, just go to the website basilicasanpietro.va and contact the parish office. The Missionary Sisters of Faith who help Father Agnello will work with you to pick a date. How exciting. Finally tonight, tourists heading to the Eternal City this summer can experience a night at the Colosseum. The new program will take guests into the ancient amphitheater under the stars for guided tours running from 8 p.m. to midnight. The roughly hour-long visit, offered both in English and Italian, will include video projections and underground stops. According to the Colosseum's website, the tour will look at the story of the Italian landmark from the point of view of spectators and the protagonists, exploring the shows that took place there, like hunts and gladiator combats. If you have a trip to Italy on the books and want to take that moonlit walk through the Colosseum, go to colosseo.it/en for tickets. And that is this Currents News Update. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us, because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.